Hello and a very good evening to everyone. Once again, welcome to Neelam Saxena's page. And today, it's going to be a very interesting and a very inspiring evening for all of us. Today, I have with me as a guest on Neelam Saxena's page, Ramendra Kumar, an award winning writer, performance storyteller, and inspirational speaker who is a cancer warrior, and he was diagnosed with cancer in November 2021. After an intense battle, he was declared cancer free a year later. His incredibly brave fight with a deadly scourge has become a source of inspiration to many, and we will see how. Ramendra, I welcome you to our page. It is such an honor and a privilege to have a conversation with you. And may you inspire, may you be healthy. This is our wish for you.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be on this amazing platform and talking to a writer who I admire really much.
Thank you so much for these kind words. So, as we were talking before the show went live, Ramendra, and I also want to tell my viewers that since the time I have had my friendship started with Ramin, I always call him Top Ramin because for me, for many of the reasons, for his achievement, for his incredible fight, for him being a warrior, he is at the top. So I call him Top Ramin. So, Top Ramin,
And this,
you
let me
have,
tell you, this
yes.
nickname has really caught on. Quite a few guys now call me Top Ramen.
Oh, how wonderful.
The copyright is yours.
The copyright is mine. I was going to say, let the copyright be mine. So, I will start with asking you something which is really close to your heart. You have explored so many genres, but I feel that children's stories are your forte, right?
Yep,
We
absolutely.
feel so as readers. So, share something about how do you go about it? What is that clicks with you about children's stories?
So I started by writing satire and short fiction and poems. Uh, when in 1995, my daughter was 4 and my son had just happened. Now, my wife Madhavi also worked in the same steel plant as I, so her hands were full, taking care of the newborn and managing the house and everything and the job. So she encouraged me, she motivated me, she inspired me. She said, "What a useless fellow you are. You can't boil an egg, you can't cook for nuts, you can't wash bums, you can't sing lullabies, you can't even run a washing machine. You say you are a great writer, no? So why don't you keep Ankita occupied with a little bit of tales and stories or whatever, so that I can take care of Aniket, our son." Now, when your wife, especially if she happens to be as beautiful and gorgeous as Madhvi is, throws a
I'm sure.
challenge, you have to pick it up. So I decided to tell tales to Ankita, but the egoist that I am, I said, why Panchatantra, why Katha Sarisagar, why Tenali Raman? Let me cook up my own stories. So I started telling her little tales, and she simply lapped them up. Now I'm not very sure whether it was because of my antics, because I'm a terrible singer, and I think I'm a great dancer. So I would sing and jump around and dance and everything else, or it was the content of the story. But whichever stories she liked, they went to the word processor and from there to the editor and to the publisher. And that's how my foray into the idyllic world of children started. After a couple of years, my son Aniket doubled the size of my audience. Now, for me, it's a big challenge because my daughter Ankita liked the kind of stories, Once upon a time, long ago, there lived a beautiful princess. She fell in love with a tall, dark, handsome prince. Just then, a demon strode and captured the princess. The prince, using his ingenuity and his imagination and his creativity, rescued the princess and locked up the demon in a dungeon. And my son Ani, I had told him very early that his guru is Bruce Lee. He had stuck a huge poster on his almirah. So every morning he would get up and say, Parnam Bruce Lee. So of stories he liked was full of violence and
Mm-hmm.
gore. So in the first couple of reels, the hero would be latching on to the lips of the villain and tearing them apart. And by the time the story ended, the hero would have, grabbed the kidney of the villain and stuffed it in his own mouth. So it was
Mm-hmm.
all gore and violence and bloodletting. And for my son, his heroes were Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all action. So to balance once upon a time, long, long ago, with all this gore and bloodletting was a
Yeah.
big, huge, humongous task. But somehow
Mm-hmm.
I managed to do it. So that's why 50 books and so many storytelling sessions and all that. But let me tell you, in long uh, summer nights, rain drenched afternoons, and those cozy winter evenings, my kids and I created a world of wonder, enchantment, horror, humor, adventure, action, mystery. And those endearing moments are still here in my heart, in my mind, and my soul.
Oh,
And let me
wonderful.
add that one particular genre both of them loved was the spooky stories.
Hmm.
So the story would begin like this, and Aniket would be sitting at the end of the bed, at the edge of the bed, around 6 feet away from me. At the stroke of midnight, Sharda entered the jungle. Chun, 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 chun. Suddenly there was a strange noise from the forest. Woo! Aniket would move a couple of steps forward. Sharda went ahead.
Uh-huh.
A huge building loomed right in front, and the door opened. Aniket
Uh,
moved a little bit more towards me. And then there was a huge ghost, and blood was trickling from his lips. Drip, drip, drip. By the time Sharda conquered the demon, or the demon gobbled her up, Aniket would be sitting in the lap, holding me tight and looking up like this. Imagine a more endearing and enduring memory than that.
for a father and a storyteller, I would say. That's
Absolutely,
true.
absolutely.
Yeah. How wonderful. And our dear Santosh ji, Renu Mishra, Sunil Joshi, Meena ji, and who else was there? So thank you so much, lovely ones, for joining us. And we have just started talking to the very interesting personality, Ramendra Kumar. And I can imagine his own children getting fascinated with the way he really enacts those stories, brings reality into it. And with this, I will move on to a very harsh reality of your life, Raman, which is you've had a winning streak against the most dreaded devil on this earth, which is the big C. If asked to summarize the whole gamut of emotions you have gone through in your fight against cancer, how would you like to tell that story to our viewers and to me?
So in November 2021, I was suffering from some issues of indigestion. So there were a couple of tests, a colonoscopy was done, and a biopsy also was carried out. And I was sitting in front of the gastroenterologist with my family at the stroke of 12 afternoon. He just looked at me very poker faced and said, Mr. Kumar, you've got colon cancer stage 2B. You'll have to undergo surgeries, chemo, radiation, fitted with a stoma bag. As I stumbled out of the his chamber and went to the hospital canteen with my family sitting in front of me, I completely cut loose. I raved, I ranted. Why me? How come me? Poor me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm slim and trim, I exercise regularly. Then how come this scourge has slammed into me? There was agony, there was angst, and yes, there were a few tears as well. Just then I looked at my family and I found their faces simply crumple. It was as if they were seeing my death in my own eyes. At that point, I decided I couldn't do this to them. For me, Nivedita, family has always come first.
Sure.
And now, when I was going through this crisis, I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't put them to this kind of a situation. So I decided that as a writer, a storyteller, and a inspirational speaker, there has to be a paradigm shift in my narrative. I had to rewrite my own script, live it, and love it. Let me tell you, I've had a very scarred childhood. I'm a suicide survivor at the age of 14. My parents divorced when I was 15. I suffer from an ailment called brittle diabetes, where the sugar levels move from one extreme to the other. I also suffer from silent thyroiditis, where the swings in thyroid levels too are in the extreme. In 2015, I was diagnosed with a very strange condition where there was a growth in my vocal cords and I was almost losing my voice. A critical surgery was performed and I was saved. I've had trysts with COVID and tuberculosis as well. My marriage with Madhvi, the process of us, it's a love marriage, and we had to go through hell and make a lot of sacrifices. So through this all, through all these conditions or crises, I have one mantra which I have adhered to, and that mantra is managing every tumor with humor. So I thought when the biggest scourge, the biggest crisis I'm facing, I should go back to this exclusive mantra of mine. For a period of 1 year, like you mentioned, I underwent three septic shocks. The probability of survival of one septic shock is only 30%. Three times I knocked on the door of death, shook hands with Lord Yama, and walked back to the land of the living. My wife played Savitri to my Satyavan three times.
Satyava.
I endured four major surgeries, 10 rounds of chemo, my hair is back, 5 rounds of radiation, and was in the ICU for 40 days. I was finally declared cancer free in November 2022. And throughout this journey of mine, I tried to remain upbeat. I fill social media with crazy, quirky, wacky messages and posts. Parodies of Amitabh Bachchan's dialogue in Diwar. आज तो बहुत खुश होगे तुम आई एड्रेस कैंसर तुम्हारे पास कौन है तुम्हारे पास मेरे मेरा लिम्फ नोड्स हैं मेरे पास क्या है मेरे पास माँ है माधवी अंकिता एंड अनिकेत
Aniket.
then there was another parody, that famous dialogue from Silsila. मैं और मेरी
हाँ,
तन्हाई अक्सर बातें करते हैं तुम ना होते तो ऐसा होता तुम ना होते तो
होता।
ऐसा
हाँ,
एड्रेस कैंसर कैंसर मैं और मेरा कैंसर ऐसे बातें करते तुम ना होते तो ऐसा होता तुम ना होते तो वैसा होता लेकिन कैंसर अगर तुम ना होते तो जिंदगी लंबी तो होती लेकिन बड़ी नहीं होती
बड़ी नहीं होती. Yeah. What forbearance, Raman. For a moment, I'm speechless. It is not easy for anyone to go through that kind of a difficult, critical situation, death knocking, and then your Savitri brought you back. And to say it with elan, without a bit of fumble, what a man you are.
thank you so much.
That's why I want to ask you, with a little bit of a croaky throat, that, other than being a tough warrior yourself, you just answered how you have been, the seesawing between so many difficult situations. So definitely that was an impetus to write the book. But when I read your book, if you can also just raise it for the viewers, that I have your book. I have seen that in this book, you have written a few things about a lot of other cancer warriors, which includes a few celebrities also. So, what has been the experience of writing this book with your experience and doing the research? Tell us a little about that.
So, first and foremost, let me tell you why I wanted to write this book. Because what happens is, whenever you hear the word cancer, it's like a
Hmm.
death knell.
Yeah.
People, because of the media, because of the entire ambience,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
the word cancer is associated with death.
Hmm.
So I wanted to, and wherever you talk about cancer, you talk about hospitals, treatment, medical paradigms, and procedures, but nobody
Hmm.
talks about emotions and feelings.
Hmm.
So I wanted to write a book which would address how a
Hmm.
patient and his or her caregiver
Hmm.
manages their,
Hmm.
uh, what should I say, emotions when this scourge slams into them. So that's how
Hmm.
I did a lot of research. Now, getting primary data was
Hmm.
difficult because there are not
Hmm.
many people who are willing to talk about it. But I did manage to talk to a few patients, a couple of caregivers, some doctors. But the bulk of the book is based on secondary data,
Hmm.
interviews, YouTube, in books, articles in books,
Hmm.
then stories of cancer patients, celebrities in newspapers. I
Hmm.
culled them together, and
Hmm.
I, created, or rather, I talk about a few coping mechanisms, 10 or 11 coping mechanisms which these caregivers and their patients adopted to manage
Hmm.
cancer, to
Hmm.
manage their emotions and feelings when
Hmm.
faced with this emperor of all maladies.
Yes, that would have been my next question. That you are an inspiration to many of us, Raymond. I don't know whether somewhere down the line, when you go to sleep, when you think about, when you introspect, you do realize, and I want you to realize that what a you are an inspiration. That's what I want to say. With this
Thank you. Thank
resilience,
you so
this
much. Thank
grit,
you so much.
uh, as you mentioned about the coping mechanisms, and one I have already learned from you today, that fight every tumor with a humor is one of your coping
Yeah,
mechanisms. And when you mentioned caregivers, and I have read your book, and there are many moments where I realized that it's not only the one who's suffering, it's also the caregiver for whom it is a battle. It is an indirect
absolutely.
battle. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, talk a little about your coping mechanisms, and how was the relationship with all the caregivers? Like, what did you go through then?
So first, let me touch upon a few coping mechanisms which I consider extremely, extremely important, both for
Yes,
the
please.
caregiver and the patient. The
Yeah.
first and foremost is to normalize the situation. Cancer, like I said, is made such a huge, cancer, I believe, is only a word. It is not a sentence, meaning it's not a life sentence.
Hmm.
So the first and foremost thing is to accept it and normalize it. Now, let me give you an example. I'm fitted with a stoma bag to
Hmm.
collect the fecal matter.
Hmm.
Now, when Ankita was very young, I told Madhvi that I wouldn't, clean her nappies.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? Not Madhvi's
It's
nappies.
it's it's in your book.
Yeah, not Madhvi's nappies because fortunately Madhvi had overgrown that age. But Ankita's nappies because crap, or shit completely grossed me out. But
Hmm.
little did I know that 30 years onwards, I
Yeah.
would be wallowing in my own shit,
Hmm.
because when the stoma bag was fitted, there was a surgical wound, like
Hmm.
abdomen was cut open. So there used to be
Hmm.
leakage from that site, from the surgery site, and the
Hmm.
stoma bag, the skin would just peel off,
Hmm.
and the fecal matter would just come out. And
Hmm.
because this is a particularly specialized task, so I had to wait for a male nurse to come and Bangalore's congestion, traffic snarls are there. So an
Hmm.
hour or two till this male nurse would come and relieve me,
Arrived.
I
Hmm.
would be lying in shit.
Hmm.
So slowly and steadily, how did I manage this? First and
Hmm.
foremost, I have to give credit to my beautiful, gorgeous wife, who has
Hmm.
learned to replace the stoma bag.
Hmm.
So I now don't have to depend on an external agency.
Hmm.
Help is there with my loving partner, right?
Hmm.
Second thing is, I did a lot of due diligence and got a stoma bathing apron from
Hmm.
Amazon. So I tuck my stoma bag in that bathing apron. So there's an external layer of protection. As a result of this, I'm able to go on stage, perform children's stories, even dance, and right on stage.
Yes.
So that's a huge confidence. Then my son did some research and got me a ostomy swimwear from Spain. So now my swimwear goes into this ostomy swimwear. On top of that, I wear my normal swimming costume and I'm able to swim for 30 to 40 minutes. Swimming has always been my passion, and the doctors are absolutely, what should I say, stunned that a person with a colon, with a ostomy bag, right? He's actually able to swim. So
Swim.
through all this, what I've learned is the cliche you would have heard: necessity is the mother of invention. So exploring. And even if you're faced with all these travails, no, there is always some kind of a solution, right? So explore and continue to adapt, adopt, and innovate. The second is live in the present moment. This many philosophers have told. See, Nivedita, in cancer, uncertainty is the only certainty. Because cancer is a stealth warrior, it can always creep back. I start bothering about the uncertainty of tomorrow, I'll slash, smother, and smudge the beautiful moments which I have today. So I
Correct.
don't wait for the light at the end of the tunnel. I rush forward, grab the light, and make it my own. So that is absolute necessity to live in the present moment. It's not easy. I
It's
suffer
not
from
easy.
neuropathic pain. My whenever I lie down to go to sleep at night, the feet, my feet feel as if they are being pierced by needles, and the toes are being pulled apart for 15, 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour. It persists. When I go to the doctor, they say, Mr. Kumar, we have saved you from, I mean, you walked back from death 3 times. We can't imagine any intervention now, neither removing the stoma bag or addressing these neuropathic issues.
Neuropathy.
Unless the pain is unbearable, you have to manage. Now, Nivedita, after cancer, the definition of bearable and unbearable has changed completely. So I accept these conditions and move on. At the same time, there are reality checks. On my birthday, we had gone out to a place nearby. The ride was very happy. When I was sat down to have my dinner, the stomach bag suddenly leaked. So these uncertainty, these moments of uncertainty, these moments of crisis do happen, but I have to manage with that. Third, and a very, very important coping mechanism, which is very close to my heart, you would have heard of ATM, automatic teller machine, or
Teller machine.
anytime money. I have created my own ATM card called Anytime Memory Card. This card cannot be broken, cannot be stolen, cannot be hacked. Irrespective of the vagaries of the stock market, its value keeps growing. It's invaluable and it's priceless. And how do you create this card? With two four-letter words: love and time. So create memories. The memories can be very, very simple things like taking a walk in the garden, dancing in the rain, playing with your puppy, taking your son for a ride, telling a story to your daughter. Create these moments, these enduring moments, and stock your ATM card. And when you are down and out, encash it, live in the moment, and be happy. Another coping mechanism is to pursue a passion. Like for me, it's writing, storytelling, and dancing. My wife's passion is improving me. And work in
How
process,
sweet.
work in progress. For the last 36 years, she's been trying to improve me, and she's not satisfied with the
Not
result.
satisfied.
You can create your own passion, you can follow your own passion. Writing, gardening, singing, music, whatever. Because once you follow your passion, those negative thoughts will not intrude into your space, right?
True. Yes.
Then another very, very important something, like I mentioned below
Hmm.
earlier, managing
Hmm.
every tumor with humor. Don't take yourself too seriously. If you have to take
Hmm.
anything seriously, take humor seriously. So, in during my cancer journey, I was given advice by well-meaning friends and relatives. One of my
Hmm.
doctor friends told me that all along you have, gone outwards. You have filled social media with all
Hmm.
kinds of wacky, quirky messages and all. Now you have to internalize your thoughts. You have to become antarmukhi. You have to look
Hmm.
inwards. So I told
Hmm.
him, "Bro, for the last 6 months, I feel half of Bangalore is peering into my rectum. And my rectum has got more eyeballs than the Natu Natu dance. How much more antarmukhi should I get?"
Yeah.
There's this relative of mine who takes the cake, the crumb, the casserole, and the bakery.
Hmm.
He believes in gravity. I believe in levity. In fact, I'm
Hmm.
convinced that had he been alive at the time of Isaac Newton, he would
Hmm.
have invented or discovered gravity without the help of the apple. He laughs once a month, the day he gets his salary. So he rang up Madhvi and told her,
Huh.
what is Ramin doing? He's
Hmm.
flirting with death. He's
Hmm.
making a mockery of a disease like cancer. If he
Hmm.
continues like this, he will die in bits and pieces. I told
Oh.
him, you tell him that Ramin will not allow any colon cancer to
Hmm.
put a period, a comma, or even a semicolon to his
Hmm.
creativity and humor. Tell him that Ramin believes that this is the age of the comedian or the year of the comedian, 2022.
Hmm.
Zelensky in Ukraine, Bhagwant Mann in Punjab, and hopefully Ramendra Kumar in Bangalore. And finally, tell him that Ramin believes in two great philosophers. 1975, Gabbar Singh, who said, "Jo dar gaya,
So,
samjho mar gaya."
मर गया. हाँ
And
जी.
2022 Pushpa, who said, "मैं झुकेगा नहीं."
झुकेगा नहीं. How wonderfully have actually. I feel that I think it is a lot of I don't know what grit with Lord must have created you. I have yet to meet a person who can so positively, openly talk to millions of people at a time. And as I have been repeating throughout this conversation, that you are an inspiration, Top Raman, because you are able to, see a crevice and you widened it and you came out of it and you said, no, I am going to pass through this and nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to still love, I'm going to still live, and I'm going to have my humor alive, which is one thing which can suddenly disappear from a person's life if you have this big sea, the deadly sea around you. So I am so privileged, so honored. I've interviewed, I don't know how many people on Neelam's page, but this is the first time that I do have goosebumps when I'm talking to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you have been mentioning so much about your wife, and I can see the love that you have, and like you have mentioned. And I do want to add, and this is something I didn't share, that you know not many men, and I want from through this show to talk to the men, the 50% of the population of this world, that it takes a real man with a powerful heart, with a huge grit, to acknowledge your spouse who has stood by you, who makes you smile. And he puts it jokingly that she's trying to improve, which I think every wife on in this earth has this job without fail to improve the husband, but not many take it with such a positive foot and say that yes, I'm ready to be improved. Here you are, I'm your project, take me, grab me and improve me. What a man, that's what I said. What a
Thank you.
man I am talking to right now. So you have mentioned Aniket and Ankita and Madhvi, your Ma, MAA. And you have also said that, indirectly, even that relative of yours even just gave you a boost, I must say, by telling you this is a boost. that it shows that he's worried about you. It's all the love that you have gathered from family and friends, and they have been a great support to you. So if I can put it like this, that they have played the role of an
Absolutely. Absolutely.
anchor in your life, and on your boat which was rocking according to the viewer, but not for you, because you were holding yourself. It's us who were rocking, watching you. So talk a little more about not Madhvi and Ankita and Aniket, but your friend circle also. How did they anchor you?
So my friends, my foul weather friends, rallied around with messages on WhatsApp, on Insta, on Facebook.
Yep.
They were, they lit lamps in temples across the country and abroad. They were duas in masjid from Lahore to Lucknow to Guwahati. They were
Sure.
incantations. They sent me incantations, Vedic mantras, Buddhist chants. And, you know, people wrote, there was a director of Indian Institute of Mass Communications who wrote a column in two newspapers about my fight. Santosh ji, who's watching, she was asked by someone, one of our writer friends commented that this movie Anand is highly romanticized. Nobody can be so positive when faced with cancer. So she said, go and just have a look at Ramendra's posts on Facebook. He is Anand 2.0. There was a young writer friend of mine who called me Rafael Nadal 2.0. Rafael Nadal was fighting Wimbledon with an abdominal injury. So she
Yep.
compared me to him. There was a classmate of mine who said, Ramen, I call you Ramen Sher Khan. So I told him, यार घर में तो मैं भीगी बिल्ली हूँ, बीवी के नाम से कहता हूँ, और तुम मुझे रमेन शेर खान बोल रहे हो. Let me share with you, Nivedita,
Sure.
that my daughter Ankita's friend, she's the first vegan to climb Mount Everest. When she reached the top, she
Oh.
thanked the Lord, uh, prayed to her parents, and then prayed for my health at the summit. Now tell me, with this kind of support, what would a damn disease like cancer do to me?
Yeah.
This support was my armor
Um,
against this deadly scourge.
Absolutely, absolutely. And at the same time, when I hear you, I also feel that it's a blessing to be loved by so many people. And as you had said, the whole spectrum around the world in different forms on social media personally had been with you. So I
So I would
think
like to just
sometimes,
sum up by saying that together, my family and my friends, we created an ecosystem of positivity,
true that.
which gave me strength, succor, and solace.
Absolutely. And I can feel it in your talk and in your voice. So, as we are almost towards the end of the show, Top Raman, I hope you stay on top always.
Thank you.
How about reading a small passage from your book, Coping with Cancer, Hands On Strategies for Managing the Big C? Something, if you can just offhand pick up and just read a part of it.
So just once, give me a second to just
Yeah,
locate.
you take your time. In the meanwhile, while you are searching, let me take this moment to thank all the viewers who took out time and joined us. Santosh ji once again, Renu, Sunil Joshi ji, Anil Kumar, Satinder Sethi. Thank you so much all for joining.
So let me read this poem dedicated to my beautiful, gorgeous wife, Madhavi.
Sure.
This sums up what she's done for me and what she means to me. It's
Please
called
go ahead.
My Rocking Angel.
Okay.
As I lay down and almost as I lay down and almost out in the isolation ICU, my senses totally smothered and my entire body almost blew. The doctors had given up, having tried their best. But to you, I was life itself, not an itinerant guest. Before we had lived our dreams, how could you let me go? I was your forever bestie in every
Oh,
high and low. You gave
oh,
me your strength, you virtually took on death. You gave me your strength, you virtually took on death. With the weapon of your faith, you battled for my every breath. You fought many a battle, won for me many a war, nursing my every wound and healing my every scar. Now, as I march steadfast on the path of recovery, with you, my rocking angel, the epitome of bravery. Now, as I march steadfast on the path of recovery, with you, my rocking angel, the epitome of bravery, I thank the Lord above for making you mine and giving you the courage that is truly sublime. I thank the
wow.
Lord above for making you mine and giving you the courage that is truly sublime. When I look around and see lives which are in a tangle, when I look around and see lives which are in a tangle, I know my life is safe with you, my rocking angel.
Wow. So heartfelt, so beautiful. Uh, I'm so touched. I was just hoping that Madhvi might be joining the show, but anyway, she's going to watch it when I
Yep,
share the link with
absolutely.
you and everybody else. And yes, uh, Aparna ji, one of our admins from Neelam Saxena's page, is saying very beautifully penned.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and we have another admin, Sunil Joshi ji, a very wonderful gentleman. So we have a lot of joke time with him because he's very, very devoted to his spouse. So he's commenting, wow, यहाँ भी संगनी जी का जलवा बरकरार है.
बिल्कुल,
So I
बिल्कुल.
want to say, Sunil Joshi ji har jagah barkarar hai. And I think this is one of your friends who's been throughout with us through the show. And he's saying, so nicely decorated. This is for your poem. So, Top Raman, I have been totally privileged and honored to be on the other side of the stage with you virtually, to hear you talk, to be definitely be inspired by you, to be the proud owner of your book and had the privilege of reading it, to hear you. And as I repeat, I hope your journey, your talk, your attitude towards life, your coping mechanisms, and your humor to beat any tumor, be it emotional, financial, or physical, may be a mantra for many on this earth. And may you continue to inspire the whole world. May you continue to shake your leg at every stage that you go.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so much. That was so beautifully put.
thank you so much. And I hope that you keep writing books and I get an opportunity once again in months to come to be hosting you again on
It
another
would be my
platform or
pleasure.
Neelam. Yes. And I would also like to thank Neelam Saxena for providing such a beautiful platform to all of us to be associated with people as writers ourselves and to find out that how many blessings are there on earth. So why not fellow beings, fellow humans, get inspired by fellow humans like my top Raman and
My
seek
gratitude to Neelam
positivity.
Saxena ji for
Yes.
providing this awesome platform.
Thank you. So, with this, Top Raman, Ramendra Kumar, and I wish you a very safe life and a happy, happy good night to all of you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.